Hey, what is up, everybody? And welcome to Fantasy Football Weekend. Here we are once again, week 12 of NFL in real life football action and, of course, fantasy football action. This is the Touchdown Talk. My name is Chris. I am joined by my excellent co host, Mr. Pablo Martinez. Pablo, how the hell are you, sir?
Hey, Chris. Hey, everybody. I'm doing great. I'm happy to be here once again. Looking ahead at week 12 of NFL football. We already had a preview of a great Thursday night football game that we got to watch with some beautiful snow for
Oh
those of
my
us who do
gosh,
like
yeah.
the snow. And yeah, I'm excited because now, we're looking ahead at this fantastic week 12 slate. And the playoffs are right around the corner. 3 regular season games left in our leagues.
Yeah, that's it. I mean, we're getting close. It's getting close to the end here of like who's gonna make playoff contention. Things are getting close in both leagues. Still a lot of teams that are like could make it in, but we're getting close to like the do or die situations for sure. And in the LOEMP league, which is the one league that we're in, the League of Extraordinarily Mediocre People. This is trade deadline weekend, so that is official in that league. So for anybody in that league, make sure you get your trades in. I am still also fielding offers as well. I'm just gonna say I'm still open. So while there's still time in the clock, see if there's anything that you can do to help your team out. But tomorrow or Saturday night or whenever, I think it's Saturday night, right? Is it like 12
Saturday
a.m.?
night. Yeah.
Yeah,
By
Saturday night.
Sunday morning, it's done.
That's it. So you got to get them in, guys. You got to get them in. And just for those tuning in for the first time, if you're checking out the Touchdown Talk, what Pablo and I do here on the show is we talk fantasy football. We talk about the two respective leagues that we're in, the League of Extraordinarily Mediocre People, LOEMP for short, and the Dirt Invitational. And what we do is we go through everybody's matchups and we pick the winners and losers in each situation, also sharing some fantasy advice, talking about individual players. So if you're in the league, great. If you're in any of those leagues, have fun. Jump on in and feel free to join us as a guest too. You guys all have the link, so feel free. You never know who's going to pop in. But also, if you're not in our league, feel free to ask any fantasy questions as well, and we're happy to share our advice. And by the way, if you do want to keep up with both of our leagues, they are both public on Yahoo Fantasy. So feel free to follow us there if you want to keep up on what's going on with our leagues and who the different teams are and all the different players as we talk about them each and every week. So Pablo, you were talking about before we got in the air, you were talking about you had some stats and some tabulations that you wanted to share because you are the master history keeper when it comes to all the stats here.
Yeah, I'm a real nerd when it comes to that kind of stuff. I really like to look back at historical matchups. Let's start off with what you and I have been keeping up on with as far as our picks for each week.
Yes.
Last week we were tied at 69 apiece, and we tied again. We had a week where we each hit 6 out of 12 picks, so that brings our grand total to 75 correct picks.
All right.
For each of us throughout 11 weeks of fantasy football.
Okay. Not bad. And I know I definitely got my pick right because I said it's gonna happen at some point, and our only undefeated team finally took an L.
Finally happened.
Finally happened.
Right at the end. I was
Yeah.
watching that game on Monday night, and I hit up Moose Knuckles also just to let him know, dude, this has been, I think it's like the third time that he wins late in a Monday night game.
Yeah.
And by a small margin. I watched stat corrections just to see if it would flip, and it didn't. So it's official. We do have every team with at least one loss this season.
There you go. Yeah, it is finally happened. It was bound to happen. I mean, listen, it was a great run. Pam's team was on a really great run. Bodie McBoatface. I mean, basically went 11 weeks undefeated, and much like the Chiefs finally lost this past weekend. So did Bodie McBoatface.
That's what happens.
That's what happens. That is fantasy. So, any other notable things happen in our leagues at all this week? I know we had the Brother Bowl, which we'll talk about the Brother Bowl, which once again I wanted to rip up and quit fantasy football forever. As always, I just unbelievable. But any other than the Brother Bowls, any other notable things that call out in both leagues this week?
Nothing really that comes to mind right at the minute, but we do have some great matchups lined up for this week, and we should take a look at the tables, the standings for each league, and take a
Yeah,
look at some of those games as you were mentioning, where you and your brother had to face off in both leagues, and
yeah,
you ended up coming out a little short in both leagues. So that's got to be a little frustrating. You actually
super
were
frustrating.
the second highest. You two were the two highest scores of the week, I think, maybe in both leagues. And
Okay,
that's tough for a team that put up so many points to still lose in both of them.
I know it was very it sucked. It straight up just sucked. I hated it, and especially when I thought I'm like, oh man, I'm gonna win. Kevin was projected to not win at all in either of the matchups, and then he came up. But like even this, right? So let's just look at the LOEMP league. Biggest blowout of the week, which was my brother and I. He was at 255. I was at 205, which normally like anything over 200 in the league is pretty good. So the fact that the blowout was actually that we were both over 200, and that then he, and it's honestly, it's the Bo Nix, man. He had Bo Nix, and Bo Nix had not only a career making game, but a historic game for a rookie. Like
For
absolutely
sure.
went off.
Completely ridiculous that a 200-point score ends up losing the week. It's insane. I don't know that we've ever seen that before, but unfortunately for you, my friend, that's what the fantasy gods decided that was your fate for week 11.
Yeah, and this is looking at the LOMP league, and if we look at the standings, where we are right now, Tina's team still in first place, holding on with Suck My Dick at 8-3. So my brother's team, Mighty Morphin Power Rangers at 7-4, Keith's Cool Team at 7-4, Shardy McDennis leapfrogging back into the number 4 spot at 6-5. I dropped down to the 5th spot now to 6-5. Please God help me, formerly known as the Dumbmanders, formerly known as Pablo McPablo Face, now named Please God Help Me at 5-6, and then January. I can't even say some of these. Janiel is Dones, which was that's Ken's team, right? That's name
No,
is Dalton.
that was Los Chupacabras.
Oh, Los Chupacabras. Sorry, Los Chupacabras
That
is
was
now
Wayne.
Wayne. Janiel is Dones at 5-6. Manja Magic at 5-6. All Out Love at 5-6. Tommy Cutlets, that's Ken's team at 5 and
That is.
6. CD's Nuts at 5-6, and It Takes Two to Tango at 2-9. Pablo, have you ever seen the standings look like this? I mean, when was the last time our standings looked like this in this? I mean, I've never seen anything like this with so many
No,
teams all vying for contention in the get
I
into the playoffs.
I remember a season in a different league when we were on like a different platform. I think we were using like the ESPN's fantasy platform,
Mhm.
where we had a really, really tight race. And at the end of the regular season, somebody ended up losing off of points or a head to head matchup. It was really insane. But this is fantastic. I love this.
This
I
is
got to say,
outrageous. Yeah.
yeah, it's super fun to play in. And even if you're not part of that pack that's trying to fight for a playoff spot, it's super fun to watch. So I think this has been doing really great things. And shout out to all those name changes, mostly incentivized by the news we got out of the New York Giants, who
Yeah.
decided to release Daniel Jones.
Yeah.
And now it's Tommy DeVito time.
Yeah, big news today in sports world this weekend. Yeah, Daniel Jones officially replaced the starter and then officially released from the New York Giants, which means he can go play for another team. So, as I was listening to the radio, they're already talking about potential spots for Daniel Jones. Maybe Dallas. Also, have heard Baltimore Ravens floated.
Yeah.
Jacksonville could certainly use Daniel Jones on their bench right now. So there's definitely a few landing spots where Daniel Jones could actually, I mean, could you imagine him going to the Chiefs? Like, I mean, it's pretty crazy that goes from starting the Giants, benched, now released. He has to be released, and the Giants obliged him. So it must mean he's going to land somewhere. I mean, where do
I
you
bet he
think,
will.
Pablo? If you had to guess, where do you think is a potential landing spot for Daniel Jones?
It's tough because there are plenty of teams that could use a backup, especially with all the quarterback turnover we've had this season. The Cowboys, like you mentioned, they're looking at Trey Lance right now because Cooper Rush is just not cutting it.
No,
Jameis Winston had a fantastic game in Cleveland, but who's behind him? I don't even know. Like,
I have
these
no
are
idea who's behind
a
him,
bunch
actually.
a bunch of teams are out there that could probably use a solid backup like Daniel Jones could be for them. So it's really hard to say. I am interested in watching it as a Giants fan. I'm not gonna lie. It hasn't been the best experience with Jones. So
No.
I would think that this is best for all parties involved, including Jones. So I wish the kid luck. I hope he has great success on his next team, and I'll definitely be interested in watching to see who that team is.
Oh, of course. I mean, Daniel Jones. I mean, listen, yeah, his time with the Giants was not great. It was a failure from that perspective. But class act, good guy, and yeah, hopefully he'll see success on another team. It just didn't work out here. It just didn't work. And listen, fact of the matter is the guy wasn't great here, but he's a good rusher. He's definitely a serviceable backup quarterback for sure, and maybe he'll get another starting chance somewhere else. I mean, you never know. I mean, look at Sam Darnold. Look at in Seattle. Geno Smith. Thank you. Look, I mean, enjoying second careers that when they were playing backups, and now enjoying second careers as starting quarterbacks in systems that are working for them. So I think Daniel Jones. I guess we'll see. I mean, I guess the world is his oyster right now.
Yeah, for sure. He'll definitely get a job soon. I
Yeah,
believe, at least
I'm sure he
that's
will.
my
I
thought
mean,
on it.
he's definitely a good QB too in this league for sure. He's earned that, and I'm sure he'll find a place where he can land. And I suspect it won't be too long before we see him again. So, all right, let's get into it. Which league should we go with LOEMP or should we go with Dirt? What do you want to do?
Let's go with LOEMP since we're in it already, and
All right.
we've got the trade deadline
Yeah.
coming up. We've had
All right.
so many name changes. Let's talk more about these teams and these matchups as we look at each one of them.
All right, so here we go. Now, each and every week, Pablo and I assign a touchdown talk game of the week here in this league and our other league, the Dirt Invitational, because the champ hasn't been picking anybody. So, Pablo, looking at this, I mean, it's tough because there's so many teams, right? You could say, well, everybody's vying for a playoff spot. Which matchup here looks like the potential for an explosive game of the week?
Explosive game of the week.
What
Let's
could
see.
be an upset here?
We've got a ton of 5 and 6 teams going at each other, but those seem to be easy picks. I'm going to say I'm going to go with it takes two to tango as
Okay.
that my proposal for game of the week, who's currently projected to win against Mighty Morphin Power Rangers, who's in second place with 7 wins.
Okay.
So that would definitely be a nice upset, and not that I'm rooting against Kevin, but to watch
It would be interesting.
the 12th team who still has a chance to watch that 12th team continue to win is certainly something that would be very
Yeah,
entertaining.
not dead. Not dead. If Takes Two to Tango can keep winning, definitely very much alive in this league. So let's look at it then. So our game of the week for week 12 here in the LOEMP league is Mighty Morphin Power Rangers, second place team, 7-4 versus It Takes Two to Tango at 2-9, currently sitting in last place. And right away, looking at this, Bo Nix, once again, we were talking about it. Last week's game, which I had to face Kevin, he went off for 45 points, had 307 passing yards, 4 touchdowns. Wasn't one of those a rushing touchdown too? Was one of those a rushing touchdown? Did he rush in, or were they all 4 passing touchdowns?
You know what? I can't remember off the top of my
No.
head right now. If
But
I think there were 4 passing.
all right. So either way, he had a great game, and now they're going into Vegas this weekend, and so we all know where Vegas, how bad of a team Vegas has been. So, is the potential there for Bo Nix to have another explosive game? Versus on the other side, we got Tua going into New England. That's at the 1:00 start. So we've got Bo Nix versus Tua. Tua being the projected favorite right now going into New England. As far as points go on the matchups. But then looking down to wide receivers, Cup and Flowers, Jamison Williams versus Tyreek Hall. Tyreek Hill, sorry, CeeDee Lamb, Tyler Lockett. Of course, Saquon also was a big player for Kev last week too. Austin Eckler. I mean, looking down these lineups, man, this is pretty impressive though. I mean, it takes two at a tango has a very impressive team. Kevin getting on the board right away because he had Russell Wilson go the other night, so that's why he's got 21 points already. But you can see why it takes two at a tango right now is the favorite to win with the matchups here. Very good matchups.
Yeah, he Tua Tango has a great team for sure. Excellent team. He needs these players to deliver, though. He's had a couple of weeks where Travis Kelce didn't really live up to expectations. Same with
Right.
Tyreek Hill, who's battling a little injury there with his wrist. But hopefully, we can see some good fantasy production. The potential is for sure there. I love that Kansas City Chiefs defense against Carolina, who's been terrible. So I do think Jerry's team here, it takes two to tango, is definitely the favorite. I know Kevin's team is strong, but two to tango's team is no pushover either.
So Ken is saying, guys, Jerry is eliminated, saying mathematically has no chance. There's 3 games left.
So I do believe that those 3 games would put him at 5 and 6, and depending on how the rest of the matchups play out, there is a chance that 5 and 6 is not good enough. But as of right now, 5 and 6 sounds like there's a chance there's a 6th place team at 5 and 6 at the end of the season, maybe.
Well, there you go, Ken. There obviously he has to win out, and some losses have to go his way, but there is a very slim margin. It sounds like that Jerry could stay alive in this league, but he would have to win, and
Yeah,
other people would have to lose.
yeah. I didn't really look out at all the upcoming weeks and schedule, so there's a chance Ken's is on point there, and maybe this 5 and 6 wouldn't be sufficient. But as of right now, if you just look at the table for what it is, 5 and 6 might be it. But I guess we'll TBD. We'll see how it goes.
Commissioner checking in with saying, yeah, he's out. He won't have enough points to get in.
Oh, points on the season. That's what we're looking at as well, of course. He's got 1,400 points. But again, this is all speculative because over the next 3 weeks, with the projection that he has now, he could light it up. I know we can give opinions for days on what might happen over 3 weeks, but let's see.
Let's see what happens over the next 3 days. All right. So looking at this, do we think Bo Nix is going to have another all-star night versus Vegas?
I think so. I think that kid is playing. He's playing great, and I do believe that he's probably in the front runner for offensive rookie of the year right now. He's been playing fantastic.
I think so too. I think so too. I mean, everybody was talking Jalen Daniels, but I mean, and Jalen Daniels, believe me, I don't want to take anything away from him, but Bo Nix is certainly giving him a run for his money, and I do think that he needs to be in the mix in that conversation, considering he continues to playing at the level he's playing at.
I think so too. There's a chance he might have a game here and there where he doesn't light it up, but he's been doing fantastic, and I would expect him to continue down that track. So good for Kevin, Mighty Morphin Power Rangers, getting a really late pick because I can't remember exactly what round he got him in the draft, but it wasn't very, very early. And he's definitely been a top 6 quarterback on the season.
Yeah, definitely very effective for sure. So, all right. So looking down the lineup, anything else stand out to you before we make our pick on this one?
Not necessarily. No, I think we kind of covered it so far.
So where are you feeling about this? Do you feel like it takes two at a tango has it upset this week and takes another win?
I think he does. All
right.
I have faith in Jerry's team. I think he can do it.
Wow, look at you, man. I love your optimism. I love your sense of optimism here. This is good. I mean, listen, I love this matchup. This is going to be probably one of the ones like how it just went down with my brother and I last week, where it was close, unless Bo Nix once again has this like crazy game, which I guess is very possible because Vegas is not a very good football team. So the potential is there. In which case, then, unfortunately, it takes two to tango may feel the frustration I felt where I was ready to throw my phone out the window. But I think with this matchup, I think I'm gonna go with takes two to tango as well. I do feel like, he is projected to win, and I do like the firepower he has on his team too. So I'm gonna go for it. I'm gonna take the risk and I'm going to go in with It Takes Two to Tango because I'm still feeling a little raw over my loss anyway from last week. So
Nothing personal, Kevin. Nothing personal.
nothing personal, but I'm not choosing you. All right, so let's move on. So that's our pick on there. Mighty Morphin Power Rangers versus It Takes Two to Tango, the touchdown talk game of the week. We have both chosen It Takes Two to Tango. So let's move over. Let's move down to CD's Nuts versus the newly named Tommy Cutlets, which formerly known as the name is Dalton, Ken's team.
I love the name.
Love it. 2, 5, and 6 teams facing each other right now. Dunn has a lot of work to do on his team. He's got a lot of people out, so I'm sure he's making moves. He's shifting. But right now he's got a lot of holes. So, and I think it's just a matter of time. He just has to get to it because he's got guys on his bench that could easily come in. So I think once that happens, these projections will be a little bit better. But just looking at who he could potentially have put on his bench. I mean, Matthew Stafford right now is sitting on his bench, so I imagine he'll move him up into starting quarterback versus Caleb Williams. And Caleb Williams, Chicago going into Minnesota this weekend, and Matthew Stafford and the Rams going into Philadelphia. What do you think of that matchup there, that quarterback matchup?
So,
That's
again,
assuming Dunn moves him in, but I'm sure he will.
I'm sure he will too. Yeah. Caleb Williams had a better game last week. I would expect him to continue on that ascent to go back into really great fantasy production that he had shown us before their bye week. And on the other side, Matt Stafford, he's got a super tough game on Sunday night against a really good Philly defense. Not too sure how well he'll bode, but Stafford has been good in tough games before.
Yeah.
So I wouldn't be surprised if he has a really good game again this week, but his matchup is certainly very, very difficult. So I would imagine that that's going to be a matchup in that quarterback head-to-head that favors Tommy Cutlet's team right now.
Yeah.
That's the way I see it.
Right, absolutely. And I also too, I mean, he is missing right now in his lineup, he's missing a wide receiver. Looking at his bench, he actually doesn't have anybody. He's got a few
what
guys
I saw
on bye.
He can move his flex wide receiver into the wide receiver spot.
Yes.
And then slide in I think he has a tight end there that
he does. His Noah Fant currently listed as questionable, but he may be let's just see here real quick. Listed as questionable, trending well. So decision will be probably later on Saturday or Sunday. So something to keep an eye on. But you know what? You may want to go out and see if you can get on a waiver wire or make a last minute trade since the trade deadline is Saturday night. So
that's right.
Maybe Dunn makes a trade there and to fill a void. And of course, when we look at Ken's team, he is called Tommy Cutlets for a reason, and it's because Tommy DeVito is in his lineup in a super flex spot. Now,
that's right.
Let's go through this. What are our predictions for Tommy DeVito?
The New Jersey native out of Livingston,
the passing Paisan, the Cutlet Mania run wild. What kind of game do we think he's going to have going into Tampa Bay? First game as a Giants starter, going into Tampa Bay. Tampa Bay defense not great currently, but is Tommy going to put up some good production? Are we going to see some good completions out of him? What would you predict we're going to see out of Tommy Cutlets this weekend?
So it's actually really hard to say. I know last year when he had the opportunity to play, he actually had some really, really good fantasy production on some weeks. It wasn't an every week situation. So I would expect the guy to be motivated, and I would definitely expect the kid to want to come out and show and prove himself. So I do think that he has a chance to put up production. I'm not sure that that's necessarily going to be week one with the Tampa Bay defense.
So last year, production wise, he played 9 games last year for the Giants, and he put up 1,100 yards. He had 8 touchdowns and 3 interceptions. And he ran for 195 yards and had a rushing touchdown last season too.
Yeah, no, it's not bad. I mean, he had a couple of weeks where he was top 12 QB. He had a couple of weeks where he was maybe a solid QB2. So can he do it this Sunday against Tampa Bay at home? Yes, I think he can. Will he for sure? That's the part where I don't think it's a guarantee,
Yeah.
but I think he's going to affect Tyron Tracy positively because now he's going to lean on the rookie running back a little bit more, a
Mhm.
player who's been playing throughout the majority of the season. And in his first game as the starting quarterback, I think DeVito will probably do
Mm.
fairly well and likely give Tracy a boost in his fantasy points as well.
Yeah, and I mean, and they are playing away, and the Giants have at least this season. I mean, with Daniel Jones under center, but like the Giants have played better away than they've played at home. I mean, straight up. So, maybe I think I can see him 2 touchdown passes and maybe and possibly even some small rushing yards. But yeah, I think leaning on Tyron Tracy would be smart. Kid's doing great. And the running game has actually been one of the bright spots of the Giants offense over these last several weeks. And I don't know why. It seems they abandoned the run from time to time, which I don't get. I don't understand that play calling, but that's a whole other discussion. But I agree with you, Pablo. And as Tina's saying, I want to see the kids blow it up. Regardless of fantasy, I love that kid. I think all of New Jersey is rooting for this kid. Everybody in New Jersey wants to see Tommy Cutlets just tear it up. So he's a great hometown story. And either way, I think he's earned himself a QB2 job on the Giants, especially after, I guess we'll see what happens with the rest of the season though. But good for him. So I do, on fantasy purposes, I think it's a smart move. Last year for fantasy, he put up 137 fantasy points over those 9 games. So I think a smart move picking him up and putting him in.
Absolutely, for sure.
Yeah.
And then I guess going back to the matchup here that we're looking at between CD's nuts and Tommy Cutlets, I think that's despite the holes that we anticipate Dunn will be able to plug in, Ken's team is heavily favored here. He's got really
Yeah.
strong players. Pretty happy, I'm sure, that he's going to get Nico Collins back for another week. He had
Yeah.
a decent game last week. Didn't really, break the score box with
Right.
his fantasy production yet, but he looked healthy. He looked good.
Yeah.
So I'm sure that better games are ahead. And I mean, as far as picks go, I think I'm going to go with the easy pick and go with Tommy Cutlets for this one.
Yeah, me too. I think and I love too the Kenneth Walker. He has Tracy and and Hawkinson. I loved last year. Hawkinson was great for fantasy and hopefully with him now coming back and getting more active and more ramped up into the scheme, I could see him starting to put up the fantasy production that we enjoyed from him last year. So yeah, I'm gonna go with Tommy Cutlets on this one as well.
All right.
All right, very good. All right, let's move on to our next matchup in the LOEMP league. That we got Shardy McDennis, who is currently sitting at number 4 at 6-5, versus number 3 Keith's Cool Team. And right now, Keith's Cool Team with 19 points on the board, and also projected at 160 points versus 139. Looking across the board here, got some decent lineups. Kyle Murray versus CJ Stroud. Calvin Ridley, who has been having a pretty good last week. He only had 9.8 points, but week before that 26, the week before that 12, then 23. So, and he is not has no injury designation here, they're saying, for week 12. So should be good to go. Rolling with Debo versus D Hop. And and here's a big thing that I think is in the favor here of Keith, is that D Hop going into Carolina. I mean,
Yeah.
do you expect Mahomes to have a day in Carolina and D Hop just constantly being wide open? I mean, is that something that we're gonna see?
Probably, you'll have to see if they really even need to effort, put too much of an effort in the passing game. I think Hopkins is a fantastic player, but after that breakout game that he had with the Chiefs, where he had 2 touchdowns, the following 2 weeks haven't been outstanding, and that's worrisome. because Hopkins has a name, and we all remember how
Yeah.
elite he can be. But I don't know that he's at that point of his career where he's putting up back to back to back elite games like that. Now he's had a couple weeks since that game, so is this the week where he blows them up? It's likely. If they can, I'm sure they will.
Yeah.
But they have so many other routes, so many other options to beat Carolina. It's tough to say whether Hopkins will be the guy who blows up again. If he doesn't, he'll be disappointing like he was for the past couple of weeks.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, in the last 2 games, I mean, he's honestly scored like a combined total of 15 fantasy points in our league, in this league. So, and that's in 2 games. So that's not the production. You want the 28 pointer
Right.
D Hop from week 10. That's what you want. So, I don't know, and this could be the game where you get that from him because Carolina sucks. They're not a good team, not a good football team.
Yeah, it's definitely possible for sure. Keith's cool team certainly happy he's getting Mike Evans back into his starting lineup.
Yeah, I'm sure.
Yeah, that's going to
I'm
be a
sure.
great
And of
boost
course,
for Tampa Bay and for his team.
he's rolling with Christian McCaffrey. And you look down and you had Nick Chubb play the other night. Nick Chubb had a great game on Thursday night. That weather was perfect for running football. It was excellent. It was fun to watch that Thursday night game. If you missed it, too bad because it was actually a really fun classic NFL game. And Nick Chubb had a nice night, 2 rushing TDs. 59 yards, 1 reception. So put up 19 points. That is not bad. And I just want to call out real quick the super flex spot. So Drake May versus Justin Herbert.
Mhm.
Justin Herbert and the Chargers going into Baltimore on Monday night. I don't think that's going to be an easy game. Baltimore's defense, but I mean, Baltimore hasn't been lighting it up like everybody thought they were going to be this year. Which is incredible to me considering how much talent they have on that team, but they just aren't. They've been finding ways to lose. But maybe this Thursday night, I don't know. That'll be interesting. I don't know how the Chargers are going to fare. I mean, the Chargers almost lost the game they played. Was
Sunday night.
Sunday night, barely. I mean, they won that one only because the 2 field goals were missed. I mean, really, at the end of the day, that's what it came. I mean, that's what it comes down to in the NFL. But it
Mhm.
wasn't like they put the team away.
No, for sure. That'll be a great game. Actually, that Monday night game is going to be really fun to watch. But yeah, in this super flex situation with Drake May on the other side, it will be a close super flex matchup in my opinion. I think Miami's going to be tough to play against for the rookie quarterback, but
Yeah.
he's been having some really good fantasy weeks. So who's to say that he comes out again and puts up another great week for Shardy McDennis here.
Yeah.
So Shardy McDennis currently projected to be the underdog by a little over 20 points. But one thing I wanted to point out, he continues to lead the league in points. And this is a league where we have a prize for the team who at the end of the regular season has the most points. So he's currently 16 points ahead of second place, which with his 250-point game last week, that would be Mighty Morphin Bowers, who's creeped into second place.
Yep.
But Shardy McDennis, even if he loses this week, just knowing that prize, he's the front runner for that prize, putting up as many points as you can is still a really, really, really positive step towards claiming that reward for the team with the most points on the season.
Right. Yeah. I mean, listen, he's definitely, you got to keep it up, man. Got to keep up the winning ways, keep up the points, keep it up.
Yep.
So, all right. So where do we pick? Where are we winding up on this matchup here? I feel pretty good. I know where I'm going on this one. I am good on Keith's cool team. I think Keith's cool team is going to take the win on this one. I
Okay.
am going to agree with the projections here, but where are you at on this matchup, Pablo?
I'm gonna go with Shardy McDennis. Actually,
Okay.
Keith's cool team has lost his last 3, and I think that some of the players that he has, or the reason why this has happened, despite having probably the best group of running backs in the league.
Yeah.
Some of his other spots, like Jaden Waddle, like D Hopkins that we were just talking about. Evans is coming back now, but we'll see, how well he bodes on his first game back. He's been struggling a bit, and even though his projection is high, I'm still going to go with Shardy McDennis.
All right, very good. So our picks are in. I'm going with Keith's cool team, and Pablo will be going with Shardy McDennis on that matchup. All right, moving on to All Out of Love, your team, my friend, sitting in 5 and 6 in ninth place versus Manja Magic, sitting at 5 and 6 in eighth place. It's the Battle of the Martinez. It's the Martinez Bowl.
That's what it is. Yep.
That's what it is. And look at this. I mean, I like this quarterback matchup, man. Jalen Hurts versus Jared Goff. This is a good QB matchup.
It is. It is. Yeah, Goff's been playing great. He's been putting up really good fantasy points. Hertz has been doing fantastic. So that will be definitely a high scoring matchup if if we're not mistaken. We'll see, I guess. But
Yeah.
Goff playing in Indy against a team that probably won't be able to stop their offensive power because Detroit has been great.
Yeah,
And
Detroit's been just excellent.
yeah, yeah. And Jalen Hurts going into LA to play against the Rams on Sunday night. How do you think Philly's offense is going to fare out there in Los Angeles against the Rams?
I think that right now, their offense has been pretty good. Saquon's been playing great. I feels like no one has an answer for stopping Saquon Barkley, and good on him. He's going out there, he's doing Saquon stuff. He's making the highlight reels, doing hurdles, doing what he does, and no team really has had an answer for him yet. He's been getting around all these defenses now. It'll be interesting too because I do like, and you are carrying the stack here, which I also feel like is good. AJ Brown had 5 catches last week in the game. Now he got 11.5 points, but still, he still seems to be somebody that Hertz is going. He's using Dallas Goedert's been a favorite target of his. So I don't know. I feel like that between the running game and that passing game, I feel like I'm not going to say Eagles are going to have a cakewalk. The Rams are never an easy team, but I feel like so far, and I can't stand it because I can't stand the Eagles, but I think that they got a pretty good shot. I can't stand the Eagles. I can't stand them.
I think so too. I think they do have a great shot, and I don't know. I guess we'll see how it goes. So in this matchup, Mancha Magic currently has 6 points on the board, coming from the Pittsburgh defense that lost on Thursday night against Cleveland. And the rest of the team looks pretty good, but her projection is still a little lower than All Out of Love's team. So currently sitting at 155 versus 128.
Yeah, one problem spot I see for her right now is Adam Thielen. Right now, he is still questionable. He's fighting a hamstring injury. And just really playing anybody when it comes to Carolina from a receiving standpoint is risky. So that might be a spot where if I was Manja Magic, I would keep definitely an eye on it and maybe even be ready to make a move out of there. Because hamstring injuries are always tough, and sometimes they are game time decisions, whether or not they go out there for warm-ups and how they're feeling with it. So that is something I would. And looking at her bench, she's got a bunch of guys on bye. Devontae Smith, she's got is out. So she may have to go out on the waiver wire, or let's see, who could she? No, she doesn't really have anybody in her flex spot wide receiver either. So might be worth going on a waiver wire or making a last minute trade.
Last minute trade might
for a
be the
wide
option.
receiver.
Yeah, she had Devonta Smith that was ruled out last minute.
Yeah.
He will not be playing on Sunday night on Philadelphia's team. And Adam Thielen, he's been out on IR since week 3. So this would be his first game back if he makes it. But it sounds like it'll be closer to a game time decision. I guess we'll have to wait and see if he can play for her team and for Carolina, obviously. But
and I will say, Manja, you've got some juicy trade bait here. So
yeah, there's plenty of potential there to strike a trade and get a win. A win right here would be crucial because of how tight and how close that playoff race is at the moment. So not going to lie, I'm a little nervous, but we played. So week 12 is a rematch of week 1, right?
Right.
Every team we play week 1 is a rematch.
Yeah.
I got lucky enough to get the win in that first week, and I'm hopeful that it'll happen again. But we'll see. I'm gonna go with my team as far as picks go. I'm
Okay.
pretty happy with the lineup that I have, and hope that that'll have a good week this
Mm.
week.
How do
The
you?
only
I was just gonna say,
Go
how
ahead.
do you feel? How do you feel about your super flex, the super flex spots here? Anthony Richardson going up against Sam Darnold. How
That's
you feeling about
actually
that?
That's a great question. That's actually what I was going to bring up. The only hesitation I have is Richardson. I'm not sold
Mm,
at 100% that I'm going to leave him in my lineup.
right.
I think Richardson had a fantastic game last week, but he
He did,
probably won't keep that up on a week-to-week basis.
especially
And
going into Detroit or
right,
playing Detroit. That's gonna be a tough one.
exactly, because the Detroit defense has been playing really, really well. And my options here would be to bench him in favor of perhaps Minshew, and keep my fingers crossed and hope Minshew plays the whole game and doesn't get pulled, because that's what I fear about Cooper Rush. I wouldn't
Yeah.
start Cooper Rush confidently, because I think he probably will get benched if he has another bad game.
He probably
So
will. And then Daniel Jones will be playing the Giants on Thanksgiving.
that would be wild.
Wouldn't that be wild? Oh my god.
Yeah, that would be
Nightmare
wild.
scenario. And then Daniel Jones runs wild all over us.
Yeah. Let's think that's not going to happen.
Right.
But yeah, Richardson might be a guy who I still would think about benching in favor of Minshew. Right now, I have him in my starting lineup, but that's the one spot that I'm still thinking about. I'm not 100% sold that I'm going to keep him as my starter.
Got it. All right, cool. So listen, I do think you picking yourself is the right way to go. It's the right play. I am also gonna go with siding with you right now based on what I'm seeing. I'm not sure Manja has the magic this week. She may be all out of magic. Um, but we'll see. But yeah, this is a crucial, almost a must win. Almost a must win scenario here, just because there's so many 5 and 6 teams.
Right, right. Yeah, absolutely.
So
So we'll see. And you know what? Going back to what we were talking about earlier, that two of the tangos doesn't really have a chance. This game right here proves that they're right. Kevin and Ken, who were chiming in earlier,
mhm,
said that he doesn't have a chance. He really won't, because one of these two teams, either myself or Manja Magic, will go to 6 wins, and that will
officially
right not
complete
allow
it.
him to make that sixth playoff spot with 5 wins.
Got it.
So, yep,
All right. So the peanut gallery is correct.
yeah. Well
All
done,
right.
boys.
Well done. Well done. All right. So in this second to last matchup here, we have first place team Suck My Dicka, Tina's team versus Janiel is Dones or Duns.
Daniel is done. Yeah,
Yeah, Janiel is Duns. I was saying Dones before, but Janiel is Duns. So 5 and 6 versus 8 and 3, another 5 and 6 team. So number 1 versus number 7. And Tina has just been having a magical season so far. Um, she's riding on the Jalen Daniels going into Dallas. I got a feeling Washington's going to make a statement this weekend against Dallas. I think they're just going to go in all guns blazing, and they are going to look to absolutely destroy Dallas. And they should, because they can. And Dallas is a division rival. And obviously, this is a two where, yeah, who am I? I will root for Washington in this, because I will root for anybody that plays Dallas.
I do think that'll happen as well. Yeah, I'm pretty sure that
Yeah.
Washington knows that this is a big game that they can get a good win on, and boost their confidence, get those players hyped and pumped for to make a good playoff run.
Yeah,
So that'll
it would be nice to see that Washington does eviscerates Dallas, and then the Giants come in, and and Tommy Cutlets goes wild there with Cutlet Mania and completely destroys them too on Thanksgiving. What a glorious back-to-back weeks it would be.
we'll have to keep an eye out and see how it plays out. But as of right now, it does look very, very promising for Tina's team. I do think that despite the projections being so close
Yeah,
as they are right now with Wayne, I think her Tina's team looks super, super strong here. As we look through the
I
rest of
do
the
too.
lineups, we have a couple of players that already went on Thursday night. Tillman only scoring 2.8 for Daniel Jones,
Yeah,
and George Pickens getting 8.8 with 4 receptions there.
Mm-hmm.
for Tina's team. On throughout the rest of the lineup, is there anything that catches your eye that you wanna bring up?
Yeah, so I mean, the latest is DeAndre Swift is questionable for a groin. He's dealing with a groin injury right now, and he was after Friday's practice. So something to look at. Those groin injuries are tough. Sometimes it's a little, sometimes it's not so bad, but that is a game time you may be really have to be monitoring that one and be ready to make that swap out. So I would keep an eye on that to see if DeAndre Swift will indeed start or if they're going to bring someone else in. And if he doesn't, who do you have to put in? So that would be a spot that I'd be watching. Other than that, the only other thing, let me just take a look down the lineup here. I think that may be the only thing. I mean, listen, the other side we see on Tina's, I mean, on the super flex spot, she's going with Chuba Hubbard, who's been the big effective spot for Carolina this year. And we got Patrick Mahomes on the other side, also going into Carolina. Now, Patrick Mahomes is pissed that he lost last week in Buffalo, and I got a feeling he's going to go on an absolute tear. So that could be a trouble spot for Tina.
Yeah. Chuba Hubbard will definitely get the workload as the lead running back in Carolina, but putting him in a super flex is a difficult matchup, especially when on the other side you're looking at Patrick Mahomes, who's also playing against Carolina, and like you said, might go on a tear on Sunday. So we'll see how that plays out for each of these two fantasy teams. Overall, though, I think they're pretty well balanced, and the projection, has them super close, within 7 to 8 points apart. So which of these teams, Chris, are you going to be picking as your winner for week 12?
I think I'm going to have to go with the reigning number one on this one. I'm going to have to go with Suck My Dick on this. I feel good about Tina's team. While the projections are really close, I don't feel like that's actually realistic.
All right. Very good. Very good. I love the name change on Daniel is Duns, and I love the upgrade at the photograph. That's Daniel Jones with some glasses on.
Yeah,
but
love it.
I will also be picking Ditka's team for the win on this one.
Yep. Okay. Yeah, I think it's just I when I look at it, I think it's just a logical choice. It's just a logical choice. All right. Now, let's go back. One last team to talk about before we move on to the Dirt Invitational. We have Yoda Best Team, which is my team, sitting at 6-5 versus, please God help me, formerly known as Pablo McBobbleface, formerly known as the Dumbanders. Josh's team sitting at 5-6 in sixth place. It's currently, he needs to make a move. Brock Purdy ruled out right now. Ruled out.
Yeah. That was very recent. He just got ruled out for this weekend. So Brock Purdy will not be playing on Sunday in Green Bay. And his current backup, I checked the player's name out earlier. Allen is the last name, and I'm confusing him with the Jets rookie running back, but that's not who that is. I think it was Brandon, but I'll double check that now and confirm for y'all. Brandon Allen, that's the quarterback at San Francisco, who has been the backup for Brock Purdy throughout the first 10 weeks, 11 weeks of the season. So the expectation would be that Brandon Allen will get the start, but the team has yet to confirm that. So we will have to stay tuned and pay attention. Joshua Dobbs was the emergency quarterback for San Francisco. So you would expect that Allen would get the start, but I guess we'll have to
unless Daniel Jones winds up showing up in that uniform on Sunday.
You never know.
You never know. It's gonna be, where is Daniel Jones gonna wind up? Which team is he going to over the next couple weeks? So, which would be, once again, absolutely hilarious. But either way, Brock Purdy out right now. So Josh has got a change to make, and that will obviously, once he makes that change, I'm sure that'll affect this in the standings. I mean, right now, I'm also dealing with Malik Neighbors potentially being questionable, although he's intending to play. He's dealing with a groin injury as well. Last night, though, I had Jameis Winston go, and Nagochu. What is this? I can never say this guy's name, Pablo. I have
Njoku.
Yeah, thank you. From and not doing me really any favors last night. He was not really used last night in the weather. However, Jerry Jeudy was used quite a bit. 85 receiving yards, 6 receptions. And I did think that now's a good time. Let me play this because this was just great. Just we're gonna take a quick pause on this because I gotta play the Jameis Winston. This is the power of Jameis Winston. This is just a great this interview. If you guys missed this yesterday, this was outstanding.
You have said you don't become a Brown until you beat the Steelers. What will it take tonight?
The horse is prepared for battle, but victory comes from the Lord. So I'm dependent on the Lord.
Is that the message to the team?
Day by day, one play at a time. That's the message.
Weather conditions tonight. We're expecting winds up to 15 miles per hour and a wintry
Look at his face.
How will that impact your ability to throw the ball?
I am so happy and grateful that the Lord has blessed me to play in some snow, to be in true football weather in Cleveland, Ohio, at Huntington Bank Field today to give him the glory. It's a beautiful day.
Sure feels like you're playing in the AFC North.
It is. It's magical.
Oh my God. I mean, can you believe it?
Very entertaining.
Most positive dude, very entertaining. So anyway, just had to play that real quick because I felt good last night playing Jameis Winston on my team, and
he did well.
He did well. He did well.
Yeah.
And got me some points in that super flex spot, which was very needed. Not big points, but enough. Enough to get me on the board at 21 points. Right now, I am favored to win. I am projected to win this one. But hey, I was also projected to win last week. So, I look across the board and, Josh has got a lot of good players on his team. I feel like I got a lot of good players. I am weak right now at running back. I did go Rashawn Johnson. I did pick him up because he did have a pretty decent game the game before. So we'll see if that helps me out at all. But if I'm looking at my lineup, that's that. And also wide receiver, I had to pick up somebody. I picked up Tennessee wide receiver for now. That may be not staying there, but I needed to fill a spot. And I felt good about picking up Nick Westbrook because he actually had a pretty good game in Minnesota. He had 20 points. And the week before that, week 10 wasn't great, but week 9 and week 8 were serviceable. So
Yeah,
let's see what happens with Nick Westbrook.
Yeah, he's been getting more utilization as weeks went on, getting more snaps. And, he went over 100 yards last week, has had several touchdowns throughout the season. I think he's got a total of 5 so far. So it's not a bad pickup at all. Definitely not bad.
Yeah, so obviously projected low, but that's where we're at. So overall, I feel pretty good about my chances this week. I am picking myself as usual, but I feel good that I'm gonna pull out a W and save my spot in the playoffs.
All right, very good, very good. So I'm gonna go with Josh as my pick, but this is gonna be the reason why. We still have time for trades here, and I think Josh is going to need to lean on a trade in order to get a win this weekend. And I think he's definitely a competent fantasy football player. I know he's very active, so I trust that he will put in the work to try to get something going so that he can get a starting quarterback. I mean, he has a quarterback in his super flex, so he could literally play anyone else in that super flex spot.
Yeah, and that was a trade with me because I traded him Bryce for Jameis because I needed a quarterback last week and Jameis was the guy I slotted in. So he and I did a little trade.
Yeah, not bad. But as far as picks go, I'll go with Josh's team as my pick, and in anticipation that he'll probably make some moves and work on improving his current team.
All right, very good then, and that's it. So the picks in, I have chosen my team for this one. So let's just go through it real quick, and then we'll move on to Dirt Invitational. Let me go back here. Here we go. All right, looking at the screen here. Yoda Best Team versus Please God Help Me, Josh's team. I've gone with my team, and Pablo has gone with Please God Help Me. In the Suck My Dicka versus Daniel is Duns. I went with Suck My Dicka on that one, and Pablo went with Daniel is Duns. In All Out Love versus Manja Magic, we have both gone with All Out Love. And Shardy McDennis versus Keith's Cool Team, I chose Keith's Cool Team, and Pablo went with Shardy McDennis. In CD's Nuts versus Tommy Cutlets, We have both gone with Tommy Cutlets in that one. And in our game of the week, Mighty Morphin Power Rangers versus It Takes Two to Tango, number 2 versus number 12. We have both chosen It Takes Two to Tango to pull off an upset this weekend and beat Mighty Morphin Power Rangers. What do you think of them apples, everybody?
We'll see how it goes.
We'll see how it goes. All right. So with all that being said, let's move into our next league here that we're both in, the Dirt Invitational. And currently that is also got a ridiculous amount of action going on.
Yes. LOEMP League, just to recap there, no team, even Tina in first place with 8 wins, no team has yet clinched a playoff spot because it's such a tight race. Now we're going to take a look at the Dirt League, and we're going to see that we have 2 teams already clinched a playoff spot. That's leaving 4 playoff spots up for grabs at the moment.
Yep, exactly. Bodie McBoatface and Moose Knuckles have both clinched playoff spots in contention right now. Is Uruguay, your team at 8-3, Swift Kick of Love at 7-4, Killer Beers, my team at 6-5, Sharkbait at 6-5. Then we got Manja at 5-6. And here's where things get interesting. Manja's at 5-6. The Sicilians are at 4-7. We have 3-3-8 teams. Show me your TDs, BMF, and Primo de los Matador, all of which could very easily get in with a few wins here. And sitting in last place, Ginger Ninja at 2-9, who I don't have. Has she been mathematically eliminated, or could she actually still squeak in?
No, with 2 wins on the season and only 3 games left, that would put her at 5-9 at best, and the 6th place team already has 6. So Tina's, Heather, Ginger Ninja has already fallen out of contention in the Dirt League, unfortunately. But there's still plenty to play for as you prepare to not get our beloved turd trophy.
Right. You don't want the turd trophy, and that's what's being played for right now in the bottom of the standings. So Ginger Ninja, Heather, you want to keep winning here. So you are not in contention for the poop trophy, which must be proudly displayed for all to see if you are the winner.
Yep. And Heather's very much on top of her team, very active. So I'm sure she'll keep putting up a really good fight. And it'll be very exciting to watch how that plays out.
Absolutely. All right. So once again, as we do in every league, every week, we pick a game of the week matchup here. And so, Pablo, what do you think we should make this week's Touchdown Talk game of the week?
So Touchdown Talk game of the week right here, right now, I think I'm leaning with the 5th and 6th place teams that are both 6-5 on the season. That would be your team, the Killer Beers versus Sharkbait.
All right, very good. Yeah, let's take a look at that. And by the way, I do want to just call out the biggest blowout of the week goes to my co-host right here, Mr. Pablo Martinez, with a 201.50 versus Primo de los Matador 105 with a 96.5 point differential, almost 100-point difference. That is a serious beatdown, my friend. Serious beatdown.
That was crazy luck. He was Mikey had the unfortunate luck to be the team that scored the least amount of points last week, and I was on the other end, just lucky enough to get a couple of big games out of several players, and ended up being the highest score of the team of the week.
Yep. So all right, so let's take a look at it. My team, Killer Beers versus Sharkbait. Let's take a look. Right now, I am the projected winner. Both teams have 0 points on the board, so we're both starting fresh. Baker Mayfield getting Mike Evans back. I am so happy about that. I am so happy to get that stack back. And on the other side, Bo Nix going into Las Vegas. I cannot seem to get away from playing teams that have Bo Nix on them.
You got to draft him next year.
Weeks. Yeah, seriously. I know who I'm drafting next year. Jesus. Yeah. Oh, enough with this Bo Nix. But in all seriousness, though, like I said it before earlier, man. I feel like he's going to throw a beat down. So these points, this projections, I think are already way off because there's a really good chance Bo Nix is going to absolutely have himself a day in Vegas. But other than that, I got to be honest with you, from my perspective, I feel like we're pretty evenly matched. I did go and pick up Amir Abdullah, since since in Vegas, Madison is pretty much not playing at this point. It looks like, or at least still questionable. I think he's still kind of questionable designation. So I went and picked up Amir Abdullah, who is the number 2 back there right now, who could be taking a starting role.
Yeah, both running backs in Vegas, Madison and Zamir White, had injuries and are doubtful. So yeah, it's a great pickup. Amir Abdullah seems to be the lead back for Vegas this week 12. So that's a perfect plug and play type of player.
Yeah, so if you guys are in your leagues and you're looking for a running back this week or want to have somebody, you may want to definitely go and if you are in whatever league you're in, he may be somebody that you just want to take and maybe stash if just to have him in. So anyway, that's one of the pickups I made this week, and then the rest is, and I got Tua, which was one of the trades I made with Tina last week as well, last second trade. So I look at our teams and I feel like we're pretty evenly matched. But Pablo, what do you think? Because you can look at it with the objective eye.
Yeah, I think it is pretty evenly matched. I mean, I know the projection has you slightly favored here, but I still think Sharkbait, Dan has a really, really great team, strong team that is going to give you a run for your money.
Oh yeah,
he's been very active all season. He's got a great lineup. He's got a couple players on bye, but so do you as well. So I think it's very, very well balanced, and this is going to be a tough one to call. I know I'm pretty sure we all know which way you're going to lean as far as your pick goes for this matchup.
yeah.
For game of the week, but I think this is a close one. I think I could probably go either way. I think Mike Evans might be the biggest question mark to see how well he steps in.
Yeah, I may have to make a swap out because it is still, even though they're kind of saying he's playing, I mean, that he has a groin injury there, and come the day of, if he's not feeling good or still feeling tender, then I may be making a swap.
Yeah, I would have a hard time benching him unless they come out with news that they're gonna ease him in or put him on a pitch count or something like that. But if it isn't for that, I would have to just keep my fingers crossed and play him, because he would be the clear number 1 option for Baker Mayfield, who's been fantastic and that you also have on your team. So that would really be the only reason why I'm a little I'm a little hesitant to choose your team. But let's say that for the sake of picks here, I will be going with Sharkbait in this one.
All right, very good. So you will be going with Sharkbait, and I, of course, will be choosing my team, the Killer Bears, and and that is our game of the week pick here in the Dirt Invitational. So let's cruise down the rest of our lineups here. We've got our matchups, and let's go to your team next, man. Uruguay versus BMF. Right here, right now. Number 3 versus number 10. You're 8-3, and Ruben is 3-8. You are projected right now at 142. You've already got some points on the board. Also, you fell into the trap last night that I fell into with the Negochu. Not really having a great day as far as being a target. And so kind of a bummer.
Another New Jersey native there, David Njoku, but didn't really come out as strong as we all hoped. But that's okay.
Yeah, it's all right. But looking at this, I mean, I like the quarterback matchups here. I mean, I think Jared Goff is gonna have a really good day. You got the stack here. Once again, nice stack. Amon-Ra St. Brown and Jared Goff. I feel like that's a great stack, and I feel like that's going to be a real big difference maker here. Looking down the other side, though, I mean, AJ Brown versus A Flowers. Of course, Saquon. We talked about that before. Joe Mixon, who's back up and running again. Aaron Jones and Kareem Hunt. Once again, a guy's name I can't believe we're still talking about, but Kareem Hunt could have himself a really big day in Carolina. So I feel like the sides are really evenly matched. I do like Geno Smith. I think going into Arizona, though, is always tough. But I feel like that he could have a pretty good day. Last week, he had a really nice week. So can he replicate that again? The only thing is you do have an empty spot right now in the kicker scenario, my friend. So you're going to have to get a kicker in there.
Yeah, I wasn't sure who to drop. My kicker's on a bye. I don't necessarily want to drop him, so I was debating to
Just go no
look at the rest
kicker.
of my team. No. I'll definitely be picking up a kicker, but I just wasn't sure who I'm dropping. And
Yeah.
ahead of Sunday, I'll definitely have that filled out again. But yeah, I'm a little concerned about BMF's team. I think he's got a really strong team. His running back trio is great. He's
Yeah.
got Brian Robinson in Washington.
And he
Go
left
ahead.
Nick Chubb on the bench.
I know. That's because he's got such strong running
I
backs.
know.
I'm happy he left Chubb on the bench. Certainly glad he did. But Kareem Hunt is probably going to run ham on Carolina. I was hopeful that Isaiah Pacheco, another New Jersey native player, Isaiah Pacheco,
another New Jersey,
was going to get activated for this week, but he will not play. So that means Kareem Hunt's got the backfield to himself for one more week. And knowing that Pacheco is up and coming soon, they'll probably lean on Hunt now. And that's something I'm a little fearful of because I think he'll probably put up a lot of fantasy points for Ruben's team.
Yeah, I agree. I think he's gonna do pretty well. I mean, listen, overall, I like the matchups here, though. I think this is good. So it's a tough one to pick, but I'm gonna side with you because you're my co-host and I want to support you. But I
Thank
do.
you, brother.
I feel like you might. I like the stack, and I feel like that's going to be a difference maker too for you. I like that, and it may be enough to overcome the whole Saquon Barkley inevitable run fest. But I mean, listen, you got Joe Mixon on the other side, not a slouch at all. So I feel like that even if Barkley does have a day, I feel like Mixon going against Tennessee, which they're not a great team either, can also have an equally pretty decent day. So I feel good picking your team.
All right. Well, thank you for the support. I will choose my team as well, but I'm certainly a little nervous about what the outcome of this game is going to be. BMF has a must-win situation here to try to get into those playoffs.
Yeah,
I'm sure he's going to give it everything he's got. So best of luck to you, my friend Ruben.
All right, there you go. Best of luck to both of you. All right, here we go. Let's moving on. Moose Knuckles, who has locked up a playoff spot, versus the Sicilians, who are at number 8. Tina fighting for a playoff spot. Needs to win. Moose Knuckles already in, so doesn't really have to win. But will, because he's got a great team or playing to win. I think Tina has a good shot this weekend as well, even though he is projected. I like her lineup. And Jalen Daniels going to Dallas, we were talking about, has a potential. Of course, hopefully it's not negated by Patrick Mahomes going into Carolina, which we've talked about. So you got to hope that he doesn't have this huge day and that Jalen Daniels has a much better day, which will be a really big help. But I like Justin Jefferson, Cooper Kupp on both sides. You got, DK Metcalf, Jawan Jennings, and right now we just found out Purdy is out. So that could affect what happens there with Jawan Jennings playing.
Yeah, I'm sure it will. Yeah, I definitely think that whoever steps into play in place of Purdy is going to affect Jennings' production. But we'll see. He's still a player that I would keep in my lineups as well. But
oh yeah,
much more worried now without Brock Purdy under center.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm thinking too. Just looking at Tina's lineup, I don't know. Zach Ertz has been targeted a lot though, but I don't know. I'm almost thinking like Johnny Smith has had some pretty good games. So I'm looking. I'm like, who would I swap out? I might put Johnny Smith in instead of Zach Ertz, but
yeah, John's been really, really good in Miami.
He's been really steady.
Yeah, definitely a guy that you could start even if you chose to leave Ertz in. Like I get why she has Ertz in. Ertz is playing
I do too
for Washington with the quarterback, and he's been doing well.
Yeah.
But John just had a monster game last week, and he's done it in prior weeks as well, where he had double-digit fantasy points. I would also probably, like you said, try to find a way to get him into that starting lineup if it were my team.
Yeah, I mean, I'm just because based on some of the production, and it's a juicy matchup. It's a juicy matchup going into New England, who hasn't been great. So it's a good chance for for him to pick up some points probably. So I don't know, just some food for thought, Tina. That's all.
Yeah, it's a tough one though, because if you look at
Yeah.
taking Ertz out would be one option, but if you want to keep Ertz in because of what we were talking about, the stack there, who else would you want to take out? It's tough.
It is
Um,
tough. It is
yeah,
tough.
she's got a good team.
I mean, maybe Jacoby Myers.
Maybe, yeah, I
I
agree.
mean,
That would be the other spot I would look at.
just because of the unreliableness of the quarterback play in there, it's so spotty. I just don't know if I could trust it because I don't know if I could trust Gardner Minshew getting the ball into Jacoby Myers' hands to do what Jacoby Myers has to do. So I don't know. It's just where I would be thinking.
For sure. No. Definitely a reasonable
But
thought to have. So looking back at this matchup, Moose
yeah,
Knuckles projected for 147, already clinched the playoff spot, but is looking to try to lock in a week 1 bye in the playoffs. Week
yep,
15
yeah, still
wants
has
to get a
something to play
bye.
for.
Absolutely does. He's got Uruguay 1 game behind him, and Swift Kick of Love, your brother's team, only
Right.
2 games behind him with 3 games to go. So he certainly still needs to keep having those wins come in every week, and
Yep.
he's projected to do so here.
And
Not sure.
Tina's in a must-win situation here because she's got to keep winning if she wants to try to get into the playoffs.
Absolutely. Yeah, still a strong chance to get in those playoffs, but it has to be this week that she gets a win. Otherwise, it's going to be super difficult for that to happen.
Yeah.
I think Moose Knuckles is definitely positioned better here for the win. He's projected better. His team looks pretty strong.
Yeah.
So I have a hard time not picking his team. Not that I'm trying not to, but I think that's the easy pick. And I don't always like to just lean on easy, but objectively, I think his team is solid. Yeah.
Yeah, Tina's saying no pressure. Yeah, no, I agree. I mean, I think objectively right now he has the better team on paper. I'm not even going off the stats. I just think right now how this is lined up is he has the better team. But you know what? That can all change. Anything can change, Tina. So I still say good luck to you, and I would maybe eyeball a way of getting Janu somehow into your lineup, but don't take my word for it.
I'm gonna pick the underdog in this one. I'm gonna go with the Sicilians.
All right.
I'm gonna say the Sicilians comes out with a win, even though it's gonna be a tough one.
All right. Yeah, it is going to be a tough one. It is going to be a tough one. So I like that pick too. It's good. It's good. I think we both had to go with a pick. We both chose. So, all right. So let's go over to this one: Manja versus Ginger Ninja, and we were talking about this before. So Viviana is 5-6, current champ from last year, fighting her way back into the playoff spot. Needs to win to get into the playoff, but she's right in striking distance here. Needs to win. Although we're talking about Heather and Ginger Ninja, and even though she's in last place, Heather still has a lot to play for because she does not want the poop trophy. You do not want that. It's not something you play for. You play to not get that. And she's been making moves. She's very active on her team, and she has a really good team, by the way. Let's just,
She does.
she's been in last place, but a lot of her wins haven't been like blowouts. Like a lot of them just been injuries, weird bye weeks, and just losing by, some points. It's just been that kind of a year, but she's got a good team. Like anybody would like this team.
For sure. To the point where she's projected to be the favorite here, and she's got an empty roster spot because she hasn't filled it out yet ahead of Sunday.
Right.
So that's how good her team is. It's unfortunate that she already fell out of contention, but she does have a strong team, and it'll be very entertaining to watch how that consolation bracket plays out. The champ, Mancha, has definitely been just crumbling. It hasn't been a great season for the champ, and her team shows it. Very low projections for several players, which combined for a very low total for this week 12.
Yeah, it's unfortunate because and it's not without Manja trying. She's made some trades. She's done a lot of things. It's just that between bye weeks and injuries, it just hasn't gone her way at all this year. And the bye weeks have been, to me, absolutely brutal. I feel like this year, you try to draft around them, but I think for all of us, we've just been getting hit by these bye weeks and multiple players and multiple holes happening. So it's been a combination of all that. I look at the lineup and I feel like Heather's lineup is just so strong this week. And I think the champ even though Champ needs to win, she needs to keep winning. She needs to get into playoff contention. I think it's going to be hard this week for her to do that. I think this is going to be a tough one.
I do too. Yeah, I think there's an easy pick here, and despite the fact that this is a must-win scenario for Mancha, I don't think she gets it. I think my choice will be Ginger Ninja for this week.
I have to go with Ginger Ninja as well, which would be good, because then it gets her a step closer at being out of that out of contention for the poop trophy.
Yeah, for sure. And like you said, another win gets her at least a chance to play in that first week of the playoffs and get right out of that competition for that trophy.
Yep, absolutely. So, all right, moving on here to our here we go. Our second to last matchup. We have Prima de los Matador versus a Swift Kick of Love. Number 11 versus number 4. Kev's team at 7-4. Mikey at 3-8. And right away, we see that Kev is a projected winner right now with he's at 131 at Mikey's 106. Unfortunately, Tillman, he had Tillman play last night, Cedric Tillman, but he is in concussion protocol. So he left the game after being hit. So only 1 point out of him. He had a fumble and 28 yards reception, and of course left the game with that. That was a big hit. So hopefully he's okay after that. But from a fantasy perspective, didn't do Mikey any favors at all. And then one of the things though, I look at his IDP. Look at this. 10 points. I'm just looking at that. That is great. I love seeing Deshaun Elliott from the Pittsburgh Steelers getting 10 points. You got to love an IDP, guys, get 10 points.
Yeah, I could be mistaken, but I think that's the guy who got the fumble on Tillman.
Oh, was that the guy?
I could be wrong, but I think that might have been. But yeah, he had a great game. 10 points is fantastic, and it's unfortunate that Tillman, only got him the 1 point. Prima de los Matador definitely needs a win here.
Yeah,
to try to get out of that, to try to get into the playoffs, and that 1 point didn't really help. His bench looks pretty bare. Not a lot going on there.
No.
So it's a situation where you got to kind of keep your fingers crossed and hope for the best. He's up against a strong team with a Swift Kick of Love.
Yeah, and unfortunately too, once again, we forgot to mention as a trade deadline for this league was last week. So no more trading allowed. All trades had to be in last week. So that's it. You got who you got, and so it's now up to waiver wire pickups.
Yeah. I mean, the waiver wire is still a great source to add good players to your team, but it definitely is a limitation to only have waivers and no more trades available. So
I think it's a clear choice here, unfortunately, for Mikey. I feel like Kev's team, Swift Kick of Love, is just totally poised to take a win this week.
Yeah, I think so too. The one thing I'll point out is that Kev is leaning heavily on those Green Bay Packers. He's starting the quarterback and 2 of the wide receivers. So should that not go his way, that would certainly open up the door for Prima de los Matador to have a better chance of getting a win.
Yes,
but we'll see. Those are 3 strong players in Green Bay. So should all go as planned, a Swift Kick of Love will take the win, and that will be my pick for this week.
All righty, there you go. We are both in agreement on that. All right, let's move on to our last matchup in this league. Show Me Your TDs versus Bodie McBoatface, who was served her first loss of the season. Also, sitting in first place, one of the first team to get to clinch a playoff spot. Right now is the projected winner versus Show Me Your TDs. Chris's team, he's sitting currently at 9. Pam is sitting in first. Now he does have some moves to make that he hasn't updated yet. He has Aaron Rodgers still in his QB spot, who is on a bye this week. So he's got to make that move. And let me look at his bench. He has Joe Burrow. Joe Burrow's on a bye. He has no other quarterback right now.
Yeah, it's tough, but he does have like Kittle on the bench still. I know Chris was a little busy last week. He was not at home, out of town.
Yeah.
So you got to get on it, Chris. Come on, brother. Got to get that lineup set up. But yeah, if he doesn't really have a quarterback option, well, I mean, we were just talking about the news on Brock Purdy not playing. So I haven't really checked in this league, but there's a chance Chris, there's a chance that there's a quarterback out there for your show me your touchdowns team here. Just got to go out and get it.
There is definitely a chance. And I'm looking now actually, and I think there looks like who was the backup for?
So it might not have been updated as far as projections go, but I believe his name is Brandon Allen. I'm looking it up myself as well.
Yeah, I'm looking to see if he's actually still. Oh, and nope, he has been claimed.
He has been claimed by
BMF,
who was paying attention. Look at that guy. See, I told you, Ruben's on top of it, man.
He's on top of it. Good for him. Good for him.
Yeah.
So anyway, that definitely leaves Show Me Your TDs in quite a precarious situation. So we'll have to see how they deal with that. I mean, he still has he doesn't even have a QB in his super flex spot.
Right. That's the challenge. That QB, this is
tough.
terribly difficult for him. But that might be a scenario where that QB spot just gets left with nothing. Yeah.
Wow. Okay. So I mean, I got to go with what I'm seeing here. So I got to pick I have to pick Bodie McBoatface.
Yeah.
Because unless he gets a quarterback, I don't see how he can win this week.
Now,
I just don't see it.
Bodie also has a 0 because she has Devonta Smith, who's been ruled out just earlier today.
Yeah.
Still in her starting lineup. So she'll update that and probably boost her projection even higher. But
more than likely. And
my advice for Chris in this case, or anyone else in that scenario where you don't have a quarterback and that's it, it looks like you're done. If you have a spot that you can burn on your roster to pick up a backup quarterback, like for example, just to name one, like Trey Lance, a guy that we were talking about earlier, Cooper Rush.
That's what Kevin just said. You could even pick up Trey Lance. If Dallas is getting blown out, they will play him. And
exactly. Yeah. You never know who might come in that isn't expected to start. So, it's worth taking a shot. I mean, what's the worst that could happen? You get the 0. Yeah.
Yeah, which you would have had anyway. So Chris, right. I agree with what Kevin said. I agree with what Pablo said. I'm actually staring at him now. So you might as well at this point just scoop them up before somebody else in this league does, just to screw with you.
Yeah, and there are,
it won't be me,
also
by the way.
Other players out there, but yeah, this is a tough one, and especially because the trade deadline is behind us, so you're not really going to have the opportunity to pick up another quarterback unless it's a free agent.
Yeah, and Aiden O'Connell's on IR, so it's not like you pick him up because Uncle Rico may get benched.
Well, there's got to be a backup behind him, so it's just a matter of looking into who that is, and if you're going to take a shot, it can't hurt.
Yeah, I mean Skylar Thompson's out there too. I mean, if Tua gets hurt doing a Tua thing, I mean, yeah, you never know. So yeah, take a chance, Chris. Because right now you got nothing to lose in that situation. So
even Drew Lock, we were talking about Cutlets earlier, or Tommy DeVito. Like if it doesn't go out as we all hope, and Tommy DeVito maybe just doesn't start out well, maybe the Giants have to quickly turn to Drew Lock, but yeah, and it would be worth putting anyone in there if you can afford the roster spot to pick somebody up.
Yep. So I think our pick is clear right now, though, based on this data, is Bodie McBoatface to be victorious in this matchup.
That'll be my pick as well. Good luck to you, Chris. I know you're the current trophy holder there, and you've been displaying it with honor.
Yes, you have.
But I'm sure you would like to get that out of your house as soon as possible. So best of luck to you.
I'm sure he would like to relinquish the that proud poop trophy.
Yeah.
All right, so that does it for the matchups in the Dirt League. Let's review our picks. So once again, in that matchup, we had Show Me Your TDs versus Bodie McBoatface. We have both chosen Bodie McBoatface in a Primo de las Matador versus a Swift Kick of Love. We have both gone with a Swift Kick of Love in that scenario. Manja versus Ginger Ninja. We have both gone with Ginger Ninja for our picks in that. In Moose Knuckles versus the Sicilians, Pablo has chosen the Sicilians, and I went with Moose Knuckles. In the Uruguay versus BMF matchup, we have both gone with Uruguay. And in Killer Beers versus Sharkbait, I, of course, picked my team, Killer Beers, and Pablo has gone with Sharkbait. So there you have it, guys. That is our Week 12 picks in the books here on the Touchdown Talk. We hope that you guys all have an amazing football weekend. May the football gods be ever on your side, and the fantasy football gods as well. And hopefully, you get a win, and hopefully it's not enough to knock you out of playoff contention, because we are down to every win is crucial. So hopefully, luck is on your side. Be watching waiver wire, watch your players, those questionable tags, all that, because anything can change. And if you're in a situation like Chris, hey, just go for it. My brother's still putting stuff in. Another long shot, Mason Rudolph. It could happen. We've seen so many things happen in the NFL. Anybody can get hurt and go down, especially in that QB position. So you got nothing to lose. That's how it goes in the NFL.
Absolutely. It doesn't hurt. Every point counts. It's super, super important. There's 3 weeks left. Good luck to everybody this Sunday and on Monday night as well.
Yep.
And I hope everybody enjoys the holiday week. Also, we'll be back with the touchdown talk ahead of week 13. It's crazy. I had to look.
I know. I was like, 13. Wow. Yeah. And by the time we do the show, there'll have been the Thanksgiving games. There's a Friday game too. So there's a Friday game. So there's going to be a lot of, you got a lot to keep track of next week from a fantasy perspective. We have football Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. NFL action 4 days next week.
That's a great call out. Yeah, because our show won't be on until after those games. So
Thanksgiving edition.
Yeah. We should consider that. But yeah, everybody enjoy the holidays. And good luck to all your fantasy teams. And we'll see you again next week.
Yes, we'll see you guys next week. And as we've been doing here, playing you guys out with something. So I'm going to pick something new for you. Here is some New Jersey hardcore for you. So this is brand new Bayway music video with It's a Cold World. It's a studio video shot for their new tune that just dropped on Bayway Takes Manhattan. So check this one out. Go mosh around in your living room, and we will see you guys next week for another episode of the Touchdown Talk with Chris and Pablo. See you guys.
Kill your local drug dealer, shit, I wish they would try. I spent so many long nights hoping and wishing I'd die. See, that's what addiction is. It's a certain slow death for people just like me who feel like they got nothing left. We're all bonded by the same shit, embracing our pain, doing anything we can to erase it from our fucking brain. So here's a song for anybody who feel like they got nothing left, who think that life is a bitch and wish they took their last breath. You ain't alone, you never were. Shit, there's many like you who couldn't cope with this world and all the shit they've been through. So just hold on for one more day. Open your eyes one more time and listen to the fucking words I say. If I could do it, you could do it, and that's not a cliche. Shit is new to me too, but there's reasons to stay. I've been given so many chances, and I think it's to say the past does not define me. All I do is overpay. Been given too many chances, and I got one left. So I'ma speak these words and get it off my chest. Remember living in a cold world, seems like I got none left. So I'ma speak these words until they leave me to rest. Suppressed and stressed, I must confess. Me against my own mind, that's a no contest. Memories that I suppress and I suggest you take 2 steps back before I punch you in the fucking chest. In the full house of West, the best lyrically blessed, a man possessed, and I can never rest. I got one more thing that I'd like to say. It's fuck them grade A jerk goals from around the way. Oh! Straight shot. Y'all know you ain't never gonna do shit. Y'all know you ain't never gonna be shit.